people forget. Snow packs at the ski tracks, people forget.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Daily Ticket here with you on a Thursday. Sean Brace riding solo, not for long though. Luke Arcaini, 3:30 talking some Phillies, 4 o'clock Sean Barnard, Team USA, Embiid with the DNP yesterday against Sudan. Pretty cool story there with that country. More on that a little bit later. And then let's talk some football. An amazing night at Lincoln Financial Field yesterday. Sellout crowd. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United on my television screen late night. But of course, the red, white, and blue in Paris continue to roll on for the first time in USA men's history. They won 2 games in the group stage. They are now into the knockout round versus Morocco coming up tomorrow. They are an underdog, no doubt about that, but we'll talk more with Larry Henry Jr. I haven't talked to Larry in quite some time, so really intrigued to hear his thoughts and everything that's happening with both the men and the women. No, we will not be talking any chromosomes on the Daily Ticket today. I promise you that. We got plenty to discuss in the sports world. First and foremost, as I said, Luke Arcaini will be joining us here coming up at 3:30. But the Phillies, yeah, they ended up losing again yesterday. John Jansen and myself were live during the game, really didn't discuss it all that much. You understand why. We don't want to lose the listeners that we do have. So allow me now to bloviate about the fighting Phillies, who aren't really doing all that much fighting these days, right? Or are they? Because what is your takeaway? That's where I'm at right now. Now, if you listen to the show on Monday, you know that I'm not panicking. You know that I'm not worried they're playing bad baseball. They're not playing up to the level that they're capable of, what we have seen throughout the course of the season so far, albeit 100-plus games into the season. Pretty good sample size there, if you ask me. But clearly, the Phillies are not hitting their mark that they were once doing in May and in June and so forth. Got swept to the Yankees. Nobody likes it, right? Now, I think that's their 5th straight series loss, if I'm not mistaken. Could be 4. I think it's 5. Their last series win was against the L.A. Dodgers at home, which was a long, long time ago when we were beating our chest, so we got to lick our wounds a little bit, right? We got to take it. And I understand that. And that's where I'm at right now mentally going, okay, get your takes in. That's fine. But as we take a step back and we got the night off here as they roll on to a 10-game road streak, sometimes you get away from the home stand and you get on the road, it might be the best thing for you. Currently, this team has a 6.5-game lead against the Atlanta Braves for first place in the division. Stop. That's it. Right then there. That's where I am stopping the conversation at this point in time. Because when you get the season, when you come to the season, what are the goals that you lay out, right? It's not about winning 115 games. It's not about winning 100 games. Not from the betting perspective, or not from the team's perspective. From the betting perspective, it is. But put yourself into Bryce Harper's mind right now, who can't hit the broadside of a barn. It's just been really bad at the plate. It's just been a really bad stretch for Harper, and there's no excuses there. But this is the season of 162. But when you lay out the goals at the beginning of the year, it's division, it's overall 1 seed, and it is, of course, World Series, or win the National League and then World Series champ, right? Like that's how it's got to play out. So if you are worried, if you are concerned that this team will continue to lose games and continue to be beaten by whoever the opponent is, they don't play the Yankees every day. And the Yankees are playing well right now. And the Yankees actually have been playing well all season, except for a 3-week stretch where they ended up losing 20 games out of whatever it was. It was a terrible, terrible run, but they're still 20 games over 500. They're 65-45, just trailing the Baltimore Orioles by half a game for first place. It's a good team. Some might say the best team in baseball, right? If you're going to get production like Jazz Chisholm gave you, if you're going to get production like Aaron Judge continues to do, he's got 39 bombs on the season. You're going to roll out Garrett Cole, Hill, all that. You're going to get the great pitching. Bullpen's been pretty good. Yeah, you can make the case that the Yankees are the team. I would probably, if you had to lay out a playoff series right now in the American League, I'd take the Yankees over anybody. The Guardians, the Orioles, the Astros, the Mariners, go ahead, step on up. I'll take the Yankees in that 7-game series at this point in time. But the good news, Phillies fans, is the playoffs don't start right now. Long way to go. It is August 1st. Yes, when you think of the dog days of summer, normally you would think of August 10th, 15th, 20th, right before the September run. I get it. The dog days came a little earlier, and here we are. I'm not telling you not to be frustrated. I'm not telling you not to second guess the dominance from this team to start the season. No, I'm not. But when it comes to a season-long goal, such as winning the division, that's where my mind is at. And I'm not moving the goalpost. That's been my thought process all along. It's been great to dominate. We haven't had anything to complain about. And that's why I know all of you folks out there that want to be the look at me on social media, which everybody does. This is your time to shine. For folks like myself who thought that this team could win the division, that put their money where their mouth was, that took the Phillies to win the division in the beginning of May, albeit it wasn't at the beginning of the season, but I got it at plus 285. Yeah, like I'm still steady in the boat. And this team will figure it out. And they will run. They will go on a run of a 7-game win streak, maybe double digits. They will bounce back in a big way. And the next thing you know, snap of the fingers, we're in September. And then all of a sudden, now it's playoff baseball. Now it's, those vibes at Citizens Bank Park. If you're a Diamondback player or a Mets player or a Braves player, you don't want to come here because now that place is rocking. We hit a little bit of a lull. I know it's boring. I know you want to hear me turn this microphone, calling somebody out. Oh, they need to bring this person up, bench that person. No, you're an idiot if you're even pitching the idea. Now, let me repeat myself. You're an idiot if you're talking about Bryce Harper's body language or lack of hustle. Like, you are a bona fide moron if that's the first thing that goes to your mind at this point. Clip it and put it out there. Go right ahead. This team is struggling. But let's take a look at what happened in these past few games as far as against the Yankees are concerned. They lost 6-5 yesterday. They lost 7-6. And they lost 14-4 when Zach Wheeler did not have his stuff. Those bad games are going to happen. Those duds will happen. And especially when you leave pitches out over the plate, which happened a lot in this series. Good teams will mash. Hell, I don't even know who's on the Marlins right now. But I would have a funny feeling that if the Phillies went on the road to play the Marlins this past week against their B squad down there, or hell, is it a single A squad at this point in time for the Miami Marlins? I think that the Phillies would probably struggle to get those bats out. Just wasn't their series. But some of you are making the case that this was a complete, like all 3 games were played out to 14-4 or 8-0. They're right in the thick of it. And they're not getting any production from their superstars. Bryce Harper is on an unbelievable run as far as not hitting the baseball. What's he, 0 for 30, 1 for 30, something like that? It's bad. And then the weird part about all of this, and it's contagious. That's really the thing that drives home the most. It's like when one guy doesn't hit, none of them are hitting. And he can't have that. But from the trade deadline perspective, I like the 2 arms in the bullpen. Hayes is fitting in nicely. Can't deny that. Stott's playing well right now. Castellanos is hitting the ball okay. Like Schwarber's, he had his 1 game where he had 2 home runs. I believe other than that, it's been struggling. Bryce Harper, do you really think Bryce Harper is not going to turn this around? Are you on that side of the conversation? Really? Then stay there. Stay there come September, and even more importantly, stay there come November or October. November, listen to me. All right. I had to get that off my chest. We will talk all things Phillies with Luke Arcaini coming up here at 3:30. Looking forward to doing so. Also, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's go. It's back. We got football. No, it's not Monday night. No, I know it's not Monday night. But we have football back in our lives. And I know it's only preseason and nobody's going to play. ESPN was dangling the carrot this morning. CJ Stroud not ruled out just yet. Nobody's playing. All the graphics that are being put out there, I'll guarantee there's not one player on those graphics that will suit up tonight. Maybe not. Who knows? But that's my take on it. And I had this take on Monday. Just cancel preseason. Let's bump it up to 18. Let's get some inter team scrimmages, inter squad scrimmages, and that's all that matters. Like nobody's playing preseason. Reps aren't what they used to be, and we could just stop with the oh well he might not play. Rodgers. Oh, I haven't talked to Robert about that. Like stop it. There's no reason for these guys to play preseason football when everybody freaks out over injuries, which they should. There's just purely no reason to have anybody of significance suit up in preseason. Now, if you want to sit there and tell me it's good for the young guys, I'm not going to argue that. But at the end of the day, nobody's tuning in for that. And that's all that matters. The NFL is about making money, right? They don't give a damn about anything else. They care about money. Nobody's tuning in to watch third and fourth stringers at the rate that they're expecting people to tune into, right? And even from the gambling perspective, yeah, you're a sicko to wager on tonight's game, but I plan on doing that because we haven't had football in our lives since the Super Bowl when the Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers. So let's do it. NFL preseason tonight, Houston Texans. We got some line movement. DraftKings Sportsbook, where we're getting our numbers from. The Texans are 2-point favorites. 31.5 is your total in this one. Woo, that's a low total. 2-point favorites, 31.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Money line, minus 135 for the Texans, plus 114. It's the Hall of Fame game in Canton. And from the standpoint of wagering on this game, give me the under. Take the under in the 31.5 and won't think twice about it. That's where I'm going tonight. And who knows, if we get a game that goes up to 35 points, you know what? It's worth our time tuning in. I'll probably watch the first half, and that's about it. Get the juices going, hear some of the stories, of course, see some of the faces on the sideline, but that's about where I draw the line. It is great to have the preseason schedule kick off because then we roll on and we get some real action. And of course, college football happening this month. Ryan Beefcoil counting it down like no other. Dude's been counting it down since April. And really excited to get going with some college football conversation on the station. Oh, by the way, just so you know, we have 6 episodes of Summer Ball recorded and ready for your enjoyment at foxphlgambler.com, where we have all of our podcasts, including Swinging and Ding It and Behind the Vig, which is our new one. Behind the Vig coming up at 5 o'clock today. I will be playing that one. That's our brand new episode that just was released this morning, myself and Evan Davis. I'll give you a little bit more of the breakdown on who the guest is and why you should be enjoying that conversation coming your way at 5 o'clock. But we got a lot to discuss in the sports world. And again, football is back. Texans and Bears. Now, we talked a lot about the Texans yesterday. And again, this is just from the regular season perspective, because you want to see someone knock the Kansas City Chiefs off. And I think the Texans could very well be that team this year. I do. The ultimate caveat is, will everybody remain healthy? That starts there. We understand that. But from the same side of that conversation, injuries happen all the time to the Kansas City Chiefs. They'll happen to the Eagles. They'll happen to the 49ers. You name it. I just feel like, come on now, there has to be a changing of the guard eventually. I get it, Brady, when you get these quarterbacks that are just top of the charts, they find a way to win those games. And Mahomes is clearly that dude. But if you want to go ahead and fire on the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl again this year, that's for you. For me, I'm not seeing it that way. Now, I know there's 1,000,001 other wagers that we could make, and we plan on doing so up until kickoff here on September the 4th, I want to say, is when the season gets going. September 5th on Thursday. But the Chiefs are your favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. The Texans 16-1 as far as Super Bowl is concerned. Now, let's focus on the AFC and make the case where you see fit. Kansas City, I'm not going to sit here and bore you. Xavier Worthy is a huge addition. Hollywood Brown. I think the receivers this year, Rice in there again after the season that he had, getting acclimated to the system. Of course, Travis Kelce, welcome to the back to the 99 club as far as Madden is concerned, for those that care. We know that with Andy Reid as the head coach, the Chiefs will be in the running, will most likely win that division, and are going to be extremely tough to beat come postseason. Nobody knows. Nobody's going to say anything different here on this station. Ravens are second at plus 550. Chiefs are 3-1 to win the AFC. Bengals are 7-1. Bills are 8-1. Texans plus 850. And the Jets are 11-1. Dolphins are 11-1. I think that's for a different conversation. We'll talk more about the division between those three teams, the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins. But for me, I'm actually making the case in my mind for the Texans to be the team that comes out of the AFC. Now, is it a little bit of a long shot? Yeah. Is it different than the Chiefs, and that's really why I'm running with it? Of course. I like Derrick Henry. I like what Baltimore has going. Of course, you like Harbaugh and the way that Lamar has played. No doubt about that. The Bengals, Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. Hopefully that's a little bump in the road for him, and he'll be fine this year. Nobody wants to see him get hurt, but they're having all sorts of issues right now. Jamar Chase doesn't get the contract. I think I read that Jamar Chase is like the 49th paid, highest paid receiver in the game. Think about that. Think about how the production that they have gotten from him and where he is at in the pay scale. And they're saying, yep, we're not going to bump him up. That seems like it could blow up in their face this season. So I'm kind of staying away from the Bengals from the standpoint of, yeah, I like Joe Burrow, but where else are they getting that production from? And, oh, by the way, can Joe Burrow remain healthy? The Bills at 8-1. Look, I like the Bills to win the division, but that's about as far as I'm going to go because I don't have confidence in the Dolphins. And the Jets got a really good defense. You're banking on Rodgers. Offensive line should be okay, should be better, but I'm still not sold on that. So we'll see. I'm kind of backing off the Jets on that one. I like the Bills to win the division, but I could still make the case for the Dolphins. Oh, by the way, the Dolphins have made the playoffs 2 straight years, and I think they're being a little disrespected right now. But from this standpoint, this conversation, for me, if I'm making the case to come out of the AFC, and I'm not going to bore you with the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going with the Houston Texans. I think C.J. Stroud is as good as advertised. You talk about the system he came from, Ohio State, and the difference in from some of these other quarterbacks, some of these other rookies when they get to the league. Yeah, Ryan Day has his quarterbacks a little bit ready, a little bit more prepared strictly from the game plan. But let's talk about the athletic ability at C.J. Stroud and what we saw last year. Are you really ready to tell me that that was a fluke? Because I'm not. I believe in C.J. Stroud. I think that dude is special. And at the end of the day, I thought Bryce Young was a guy that can go back there and make some plays and remain calm. But, man, that offensive line is atrocious. So good luck to him. Clearly it was a mistake. C.J. Stroud should have been taken number 1 overall. And I don't think that that's really revisionist history right now. I think a lot of us, I do believe it's revisionist history, but I don't think it's a prisoner of the moment take. Let's just put it that way. I think we all can say for certainty that they messed that pick up there at number 1 overall. But still, Texans, I like what they have on defense. You look at what Tank Dell brought to the team last year. I don't even know if they're going to need Tank Dell like that this year. Think about that. Look at their depth at the wide receiver position with Nico Collins, and of course adding Diggs to the situation. They added Joe Mixon come out of the backfield. Health, put that to the side because we can claim health. If this team remains healthy, we can put that on any team. So if the Texans are healthy, I like them to win the division, and I really do like them to come out of the AFC at this point in time. If you're make a selection, and I can't pick the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going with the Houston Texans. It's a good conversation to start with right here at Fox PHL Gambler. Hit us up on socials. No Chiefs coming out of the AFC. Who you got? Make the case. I want to hear from you. Football is back! Oh, yeah. Now, I know it's, what's it, on NBC tonight, I think? It's not ESPN. I think it's NBC. But that's all right. That's our football. That's our football soundtrack there. All right. From the NFL, let's talk some Phillies. Luke Arcaini, all things Phillies for us. He's got a new venture going on with Sean Barnard, talking some Phils. We'll talk a little bit more about what he's got going on there. But, of course, joins me a lot throughout the course of the week on all things Phillies and Major League Baseball, and he will do that on the other side. Once again, 4 o'clock, Sean Barnard himself, talk about Joel Embiid and the DNP for Team USA. And at 4:30, let's continue the USA conversation, this time about the great game of football. Hey, were you down there at the link last night for Liverpool and Arsenal? I want to hear about that experience. Sold out crowd, all things red. Looked pretty damn cool. Once again, all things socials. FX, PHL Gambler. FX, PHL Gambler. I ended up eating some wings from Topgolf. The folks over at Topgolf must have known that I am a wing connoisseur. Somebody dropped off some wings, and you got to see their write-up. It's pretty cool. I'll tweet this out for my personal page at Sean_Brace, but it's the introducing the Sure Thing Club, the one club pros can't get, and it's a wing. Look at this. Look at this little breakdown. I love it. I love it. I'm a sucker for good marketing. Nice work by the folks over at Topgolf, and those wings were pretty darn good as well. And it goes okay with iced coffee as well. All right, Luke Arcaini, we'll talk some Phillies with him. His thoughts as this team gets away for a 10-game West Coast road trip. Is that the best thing for this team right now? And what the hell is going on with Bryce Harper? More Daily Ticket just getting started. Back after this.
Go to Rita's and try the new Nerds Grape Ice and Baby Nerds Topping.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heading on the Schuylkill westbound from University to the Vine, then you're crawling from the Boulevard out past Belmont. Eastbound Schuylkill, stop and go from Montgomery into South Street. Jammed on the Blue Route southbound from Broomall into Media Swarthmore. In New Jersey, 42 southbound slows from the Walt Whitman Bridge down to 295. Brandon Joseph, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale and clearance. Save up to 60% on a wide selection of quality mattresses at every price. Plus, score a free adjustable base with a qualifying purchase. Hurry and stop by Mattress Firm today.
Attention, if you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
Jane, I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
Or being a dog person and a cat person.
Who wants a treat? Who's a good boy?
Or like being an extrovert and an introvert.
Woo! This is so fun! I can't wait to go home!
At T-Mobile, you don't have to choose. You can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how much you can save with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, when you switch, you can keep your phone and we'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device, credit service, and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Oh, Downy the rinse straight.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes 100% of odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Febreze.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze. La 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 la.
Special moment for the 22-year-old from California, and it's the first for Team USA in Paris.
Hear all the exciting moments on the free iHeartRadio app, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
iHeartRadio Olympics update.
U.S. swimmer Katie Ledecky will try for a record-setting 9th Olympic gold medal in the women's 800-meter freestyle Friday before looking ahead to 2028.
Over these last few months and last few years, and saying that I would love to compete in L.A.
Team USA already added to its medal count today. The men's rowing team winning its first gold medal since the 1960 Rome Olympics.
For NBC's live coverage from Paris, search Olympics on the free iHeartRadio app.
CEOs you should know, brought to you by Comcast Business.
Hi, it's Greg Karen. I'm the president and CEO of the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're kind of a highly specialized economic development agency. We are the official tourism promotion agency for the city of Philadelphia globally. The way I like to refer to what I do is the way I was trained years ago, is to talk about what's the end result of what we do. I ask people to think about what it's like when they are walking in this middle of Center City and WrestleMania fans are running up and down the streets, or during the Army-Navy game when the entire city feels like a campus of West Point or the Naval Academy. And even more simply, people don't notice it until we talk about it. But just that feeling when you see people walking up and down Market and Chestnut in the streets of Philadelphia, wearing hang tags and name tags with whatever association they happen to be with, and really is a major driver of our economy in Philadelphia and in Southeast PA. And the richness of our culture, diversity, history, the gastronomic scene, all those things that make this such a wonderful place to work, make it an extremely attractive destination, so that when people come here, they truly do feel the richness and diversity of our city, whether they're here from a professional event, a fraternal event, a sporting event. The backdrop of the city and the richness of the city all make it an extraordinary value proposition for planners of these big events. Our website is discoverphl.com.
Comcast Business, the complete connectivity solution, cybersecurity, internet, and mobile, all from one provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Hey, Sean Brace here. Did you know that only 14% of men wear sunscreen? And the main reason? The smell. Slam Lotion changes that with scents tailored for men. Protect yourself without the shame and leave the coconut for the pina coladas. Visit their website right now at slamlotion.com for 20% off and free shipping on orders over $34 or more. Smell like a man, suntan like a man. Slam Lotion, your perfect sun style.
Hey, if you're listening to me right now, I have one thing every business needs most: attention. Think about it. We swipe and scroll past stuff all day, but when we're driving, cooking, working out, we're also listening. That's the magic of audio at iHeart. We're in your next customer's ears while they're living life and listening, just like you are right now. So get your customers to listen up today using radio, digital, and podcasts. Call 844-ADD-HELP-5. That's 844-ADD-HELP-5.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Me and the kids were always messaging. They LOL'd, I ROFL'd, but then I changed phone and the bubbles went green. But where there's a Phil, there's a way. And I found a way to share what's in here. I'm tapping my heart.
WhatsApp, the place to safely send messages between different devices. Message privately with everyone.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Philly slugger Bryce Harper is stuck in the worst slump of his career. He's just 1 for 30 going into a weekend series in Seattle. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni told Up and Adams that he ramped up the conditioning at training camp to help make his team more physical. And the U.S. men's rowing team earned the gold medal in fours today at the Paris Olympics. That ended a 64-year drought. I'm Scott Davidson.
The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are here with exceptional offers on the CLE Coupe, E-Class Sedan, C-Class Sedan, and CLE Cabriolet. Going on now through September 3rd. Learn more. MBUSA.com/dream.
Don't step on Axel. Yeah, baby. Nothing better than a little appetite for destruction bringing us back from break. It's Thursday, a little throwback Thursday there. Good afternoon, Sean Brace, Daily Ticket with you here. Let's head out to the Gambler stream. You heard the man during the break there from Fox Sports Radio. Bryce Harper's worst drought in his MLB history. Now, I believe we're over double digits. Luke, how many years has Bryce Harper been in the league? I'd say 11.
Yeah, this is season 12, I believe, for Harper. 12, 13, 14, yeah, 12 or 13. 12 or 13.
Significant. He's never had a slump like this in his career. Now, here's where I want to start the conversation.
It can only go up from here.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Like, if you're one of these guys out there, and I think I said this to you earlier in the week, Luke. No, I actually haven't, because this is our first time we spoke. That's right. This is the time for the people that say, you know, to the complainers, the people on the timeline that are the noisiest when things are wrong, right? The Nick Bacones, who I say that I'll love and respect because we love Nick, because you haven't had anything to say negative about this team all season long, so get it off your chest. This is your time to get those looks that you're so used to getting, which, good, knock yourself out. But when it comes to September, when it comes to this team approaching playoffs, when it comes to this team clinching the division, being the overall 1 seed, when that happens, you better run it back and say, you know what? I was wrong. I shouldn't have been panicked. I shouldn't have been scared. I shouldn't have been thinking that Bryce Harper was all of a sudden going to turn into a 200 baseball hitter or 200 hitter to close out the season. Shame on you folks. Calm down, 10-game road streak. So, one, of course, your thoughts on what's happening with Bryce Harper. Is he trying too much? And two, the big question I would have for you, Luke, is this. Getting away from the ball yard, getting away from Philadelphia. It's a good time to do that. It's a good time to do that in my mind. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah. First and foremost, the people that are currently like basically taking victory laps, saying that they were right all along, and there were always flaws. Congratulations. I don't really know what else you want me to say to you. I'm happy that the team you root for is playing bad so you can take your victory lap. But I just wanted to get that out of the way first. As far as Bryce Harper, it's just one of those things where you have to swing through it. Like if I were Rob Thompson, I would give him the night off tomorrow. I don't think he would. I think Harper's going to treat today as his day off. I don't think Bryce Harper wants to be out of the lineup tomorrow night. But I just think you just go through ruts. You go through ruts at the plate. You go through ruts on the mound. You go through ruts as a team, right? Like these cold streaks and these losing streaks, like they happen everywhere in baseball. All 30 teams, every single player in baseball goes through a cold streak. Is it one for your last 30? Maybe not. And is it end with a really bad at bat yesterday in the 9th inning where he probably should have just taken the first pitch? Maybe. But if Bryce Harper hits that first pitch into the gap, this whole narrative has changed, right? So, like, one, I didn't love the pitch selection from Bryce, specifically in that last at bat. But at the same time, it was a ball over the plate, and he went for it. And when you're in a slump like that, there's nothing you can do that will help you more than swing through it. And as far as this sort of cold stretch as a team, people that were fans of this team set themselves up for failure when they believed the first half of this year was going to last the whole season. You don't have your starters.
Let's back that up, because this team won 62 games, if I'm not mistaken, at the All-Star break.
Correct.
Now, I know that it's not the true halfway point for the All-Star break, but let's just say if there was somebody out there that thought this team was going to win 115 games, like, yeah, you're setting yourself
out of your
up.
mind.
Yeah, you were setting
You're out of your
yourself
mind.
up.
There's a reason not a single team in the history of baseball has won 115 games. There's a reason that, listen, there were 4 Philly starters a week going out there and throwing 7+ innings, under 2 earned runs, and striking out more than 6 guys. That does not happen for 7 months straight. There were times where we were going out scoring 10 runs a night for a week straight. That doesn't happen for 7 straight months. The 2016 Cubs lost 8-12. The 2017 Astros lost 8-12. The 2018 Red Sox lost 7 of 11. The 2019 Nationals lost 11 of 16. The 2021 Braves lost 8 of 11. And the 2023 Rangers lost 12 of 15 in August, including 9 in a row. Sean, do you know what all those teams have in common?
I believe you're talking about World Series champions in those
They
years.
all won the World Series.
Nice work. Nice work.
The year that the Phillies went to the World Series, 2022, they lost 8 of 10 at some point that season. Bryce Harper went on a 10 for 52 streak at the end of August going into September, including a 4 for 23. This Yankees team that we saw yesterday, right? I mean, from what they looked like in Citizens Bank, they looked like a pretty big powerhouse team. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They lost 24 of 35 coming into this series.
Yep.
This, like, I don't know how to explain it other than it happens. Like, bad baseball happens every year to every team. It's now about how they get through it. They're still a really good baseball team. They have 4 really good starters once Ranger comes back off the IL that are on this staff. They have a guy in Tyler Phillips who has now evolved into a 5th starter for us. You have a really good bullpen. Jeff Hoffman is unhittable. Matt Strom's going through a tough stretch. Matt Strom's still an unbelievable pitcher. Orion Kerkering, you now got a guy in Carlos Estevez who has walked 5 batters in 36 innings this season, right? This new guy we got, Banks, may not be the best reliever. Came in yesterday, looked great. Adding another lefty to your bullpen. I haven't even touched the lineup yet, right? Like, I get it. I get it. The lineup is struggling. The team is struggling. If you think Bryce Harper is going to hit like this for the rest of this season, you're out of your goddamn mind. Yeah. You are out of your mind.
Well said.
Trey Turner is not going to hit like this for the rest of the season. We know this. We saw it after that stretch last year. That first half of last season with Trey was abysmal. It was one of the worst 3-month stretches I've ever seen by a baseball player. And then he got into August and into September, and he hit the piss out of the ball in October, right? JT Realmuto, fresh off of knee surgery as a catcher, he'll be fine. Bryson Stott is hitting 500 over his last 7 games. Nick Castellanos over 300 over the last month and a half. Like this, I get it. They're playing bad baseball, but like you're out of your mind to be out on a baseball team that's still 22 games over 500 and still, after losing 10 of 14, has a 6.5 game lead in their division. Is it 10.5 like it used to be? No. Because I tried to say all along, this Braves team wasn't as bad as they were playing in the beginning of the year. This is going to be a race. And there was another radio station out there that wanted to say that this NL East race was over. And it was never over, and it should have never been said. but it's August 1st. And if you're out on this team, you're just absolutely out of your mind. And that's all I got for you.
Well said. And I agree with everything you had to say there. And from the standpoint of where we're at, just the way that this season has played out. Again, we're talking about a team that was not favored to win this division. We might have had the expectations to do so, and that's fine. But clearly the national landscape from the odds makers in general, they did not view it as such. They were playing crazy above their head, but at the same time, this is a good baseball team. And I do think that they will regain that form, regain that shape. These are really good teams they're going up against too. Like, let's give some credit to the other teams. Also, I want to throw this off you. What is your takeaway? Because we're talking about, look, it hasn't been pretty. I get that. But we're talking about one-run losses here. Yeah, Wheeler got banged up in that game, and there's no excuse except for Wheeler laying over some bad pitches and, of course, against some pretty good sticks with the Yankees, they're going to make you pay. But these games aren't blowouts. They're right there, and they're coming up short. Like, this is just the state of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, there's been a few things. Like, I mean, Austin Hayes was a combined 4 feet away from having a multi-homer game yesterday.
Great pickup.
He was 2.5 feet away from ending that game in the 9th inning yesterday. Like, it's just little things that right now, when you're in a cold stretch, the little things just don't go your way. Like, you don't get the calls, you don't get the bounces, and you don't get those extra few feet. There's nothing you can do. Rob Thompson going in and screaming at them in the clubhouse isn't going to help. Yeah. Bryce Harper getting up, who's won for his last 30, screaming in this locker room is not going to help. This whole players meeting doesn't mean anything. Like, this team lost yesterday, and they still looked completely fine to me in the dugout. They weren't in there pouting. They're not in there pouting like people on Twitter. Like, they know it's a 7-month season. Like, these guys understand, and I'm trying to get more people to understand that a baseball season is 1, not 2 weeks. 2, it's not a football season. And that's where I'm at, is that so many people currently treat baseball like a football season. And this whole Phillies are the 2023 Eagles. Like, can we stop? It's not even close. Like, it's the Eagles. We had kind of a feeling. I don't think that season was going to end how we thought after they were 10-1. Yeah. Like, there were still signs there. Like, this team played at an incredible rate, and one that was never going to be sustainable. Like, right? Like, they're never winning. They were on pace for 119 wins at one point. Like, that just doesn't happen. So, like, it's just, you have to take a step back and just, like, realize sort of where we're at. One, you have to look at the calendar. It's August 1st. They got 2 months of baseball left before the playoffs. Like, there's so much time. And I get it. Have they historically played well on the road? No. Do they ever play good in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium? No. But sometimes maybe you just need to leave home. And I said when they were on the road, maybe they need to get back home. Yeah. But maybe they just need to go. Like, maybe they just need a few days. Maybe they needed to have a few beers last night, relax. Like, I don't know.
It's a long flight to Seattle. It's a long flight to Seattle.
Exactly. They've just looked very tense. Like, I think it's something where they feel like right now, I don't think, like, they know they're not going to lose us as the fans, because the sickos really know that this season's not even close to being done. But like, obviously nobody wants to lose 10 of whatever it is, 14, I don't even know what it is, 10 of 14, 11 of 15, whatever it is. But like, it just happens. I don't know how to say it other than it just happens sometimes.
That's all you got to say. And like, for the people,
and that's all there really, like, needs to be. Like, they lost, they're playing really shitty baseball, and you move on and you go to the next series and you figure it out.
That's it. I'm right there with you on that. We're talking to Luke Arcaini, covers all things Phillies for us. He's fired up. I love it. Let's bring it. And I know we all are, because we expect this team to perform better and more importantly, just not get swept by the New York Yankees. And that stings a little bit more because, of course, with the history with the Knicks, that's fresh on our mind. And all those Yankees fans, they travel well. They travel a little bit better than Mets fans. But still, it would sting just as much. And those games were there for the taking.
I didn't want the bank to be completely taken over this weekend.
No,
but I also say this like a lot of times when that happens, like when you get those close rivalries like that, that's just bound to happen. Like if the Yankees are playing the Phillies, Yankees fans have an opportunity to see their team play on the road. And it's one of the closest possible stadiums. They come here, they buy more tickets because it's just a Thursday night or a Tuesday night game in July, right? Like the Phillies fans, you were there, I think. They freaking took over Baltimore. Like when we went to Baltimore for that weekend series, you take over the cities that you're close to. Like, it's just, I don't know. All the tweets are like the New York fans taking over the thing once again. Yeah, that's just how it works.
Well, they should beat their chest because look what happened with the Knicks, as I pointed out, and the Yankees are a good baseball team. You know, like it's as much as they did stink for that 3-week stretch, they're still 20 games above 500.
Yeah, I mean, even though most Yankees fans are just Lakers and Cowboys fans, but I guess you can say the Knicks there. But, yeah, I mean,
bottom line is this team is going to get better. Now, I hope for our sake that it's in Seattle.
Yeah,
but I'm not so sure that's a lock, stock, and barrel type of atmosphere place that they're going to go in. I feel like I'm more inclined to say that they're going to win the Dodgers series and a Diamondback series versus the Seattle series. Where do you stand against the Mariners? Mariners have struggled offensively, did make some moves with Randy Arozarena, Justin Turner at the deadline. I like those moves. It's a beatable baseball team if the bats can get going. Your thoughts on the Seattle Mariners matchup?
Yeah, Mariners, I still don't think are a great baseball team. The Phillies right now are not better, but when they're hitting like their best, I think they're a way better team than the Mariners. Mariners, I believe, are 5-7 out of the All-Star game. So not really nothing crazy. Lost a series to the Astros, got swept by the Angels. I can't even a White Sox sweep. I can't even say counts at this point. They've lost like 20 million in a row. So I mean, they've lost every series out of the All-Star break so far. So they're kind of a little bit in the Phillies boat, maybe not playing as bad of baseball, but no, obviously they did sort of get the additions. They just did add Randy Arozarena, who I know is definitely a name around here that was wanted. They added a few more names as well, but I don't think the Mariners are some real scary team. I think the Phillies have the chance to sort of right the ship this weekend. Will they do it? I hope. Mariners 31-23 at home, so have definitely been way better at home than on the road. But I don't see a reason why the Phillies can't go in and win a series, right? If the Phillies' goal is to go out there and win 2 of the 3 series on the West Coast, and they do that's perfectly fine with me. Right. If you can go out on a 10-game road trip and win 6 of 10, maybe even 7 of 10, that's a win for me. So just minimum, just play 500 baseball on the road. If they go out there 5-5, 6-4, I'm okay with that. It's not the best case scenario, but for how they've been playing recently, if they would play 6-4 over these next 10 against, especially ending with a Diamondbacks team who has been really hot. Diamondbacks are hitting the ball really well. They're finally getting healthy again. I believe they won like 18 of their last 23 or something in that range. So just go out there and win the series, right? Focus on the Mariners series. Win Friday night, and then if you win Friday night, win Saturday night, right? Just go out there one game at a time. Don't be thinking about when you're coming back home, the team the next series, right? They just got to go out there and win a series. And then once you win the Mariners series, then you move on to the Dodgers series.
Right there with you. And it gets started tomorrow. At least they got the night off. Get up to Seattle, go catch a fish in the market and have some fun and loosen up and get ready for 10 straight games coming right down the pike at you because they are on the road, as we pointed out, Seattle, LA, and then Arizona. And then they come back and they got some easy opponents here at the Banks. Yeah, so everything's going to be nice and cool. All right. Big picture, obviously, with what's going on as far as Major League Baseball is concerned. Let's go ahead and talk about the wild card, if we could, from the National League, because that's definitely a fun conversation to have. I'm curious, where do you stand right now? Is there a team that you like more than others? And let me follow up by saying the Brewers have a pretty decent lead in first place. It's got a little tightened up. They're 5 games above. Do you like the Brew Crew to lock in and they're going to win the Central, bar none?
Yeah, I would say the Brewers are good on the Central. I don't think there's not many leaders right now that honestly I see changing.
Brewers are minus 425 to win the division.
I see that staying. I think the Dodgers are going to win the West. I still think we're going to win the East. Honest to God, Sean, if I had to place a parlay right now to take all 6 current division winners to win their division, I think I would.
Don't do that.
I know, but I'm not going to. But
no,
I think the Astros got better.
Back it up.
Yeah.
Who you got coming out of the AL East? Because that's
the Orioles. Baltimore.
You got the Orioles. See,
I do.
I flip-flopped. I'm now looking at the Yanks.
I've been on Baltimore all year. I think Baltimore's the better team. I thought they were the better team all year. They're lethal at home. They're lethal on the road too. They actually have a better record on the road.
Who's got the better pitchers? Gotta give it to the Yankees.
I don't think by much. Like
it's
not that good. Luis,
you feel Garrett Cole out there?
Yeah. He gets
Corbin
back
Burns
to
is nasty.
actual Garrett Cole. He's looked pretty bad since he came back. I don't know. I take, if you put a 3-game series right now, I would take the Orioles in three games. But I would take the Orioles.
So
I
we got to do.
They're the overall better team. I think there's going to be a lot of hype around the Jackson Holiday thing. That grand slam yesterday was absolutely electric.
Yeah,
I would take
call.
the Orioles. But as far as that National League wild card, I think the Braves will stay. I don't think the Braves are going to have as good of a second half as people think. I don't think they're going to run away with the top spot because I think the Padres are going to be right behind them because I think the Padres are a really good baseball team. So I would probably have it finishing Braves, Padres. And then I would say the Diamondbacks just because I think the Diamondbacks are going to get healthier. Really only as the season goes on, they're getting guys back. I don't think the Mets are going to stay up there. I honestly think I would give a better chance of St. Louis hopping the Mets. And I don't think they're going to get in, but I'm still in on this Pittsburgh team. Like, I think there's something around them. They obviously didn't go all in, but they bought enough to where they want to compete for a playoff spot. So
okay.
I'm sort of hoping that they maybe make a push. And if they could push an Arizona out of there, that would be absolutely incredible because I would love not to see Arizona in the playoffs again. But yeah, as far as that, my guess right now, I don't think much will change.
All right. Well, look, we got a long way to go, and we will be discussing all of this. Just to let you know, to make the playoffs right now, Diamondbacks are minus 125. The Pirates are plus 500. Let's see here. The teams, the Mets are plus 115.
Did you say the Diamondbacks are plus 500 to make the playoffs?
No, I misread
that. Okay. I thought you said 500 to make the playoffs. I was like,
Diamondbacks are minus 125 to make the playoffs. I read the Pirates are plus 500. Let's see here. Keeping it moving. On the National League only, the Mets are plus 115. The Padres are minus 200. The Cardinals are plus 200. And the Giants are plus 500 at this point in time. And that's really all from the general side of the wild card discussion. We'll see. All right, Luke Arcaini, fantastic stuff as usual. Good luck on all those plays. Of course, we got the night off. We'll be talking all things Phillies after the weekend, and I look forward to doing that. But as always, man, can't thank you enough for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Go Phils. Thanks, Sean.
Go Phils. There he is, Luke Arcaini on the Gambler stream. All right. Bex was just knocking on my window from Q102. All right, let's keep it moving here. Hey, 4 o'clock hour coming up next. And here's what we got for you, kiddies. We got a jam-packed day of programming for you. 4 o'clock. Sean Barnard's going to join me on the other side. We're going to talk all things Team USA basketball. Should you be alarmed with the way that Joel Embiid has been discussed? Of course, DNP. And bottom line is they got the win. You heard my take after Jason Tatum didn't play, so I'm not really going to change too much of my thought process on that now that it involves our guy, Joel Embiid. I'll have more for you on that, though, with that discussion, because I teed up for Sean Barnard. Should I look at it differently? I want to know what he's seeing through his eyes. Steve Kerr is there to get one job done and one job done only, and that's to win the gold damn medal. They're 2-0. They got a game tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. They're 33-point favorites against Puerto Rico. I know they didn't cover against Sudan, but that's the conversation. That's my angle that I'm at with Sean Barnard. Something tells me he's not going to be in agreement with me on that one. 4:30, we're going to talk some USA soccer. Larry Henry Jr., he's going to join the program coming up at 4:30. I haven't talked to LHJ in a little while, so can't wait to get him on. We'll mix in some Team USA men and women, or men's team as far as Greg Berhalter's replacement. So I look forward to that discussion. And then at 5 o'clock, Behind the Vig. Now, folks, if you aren't up on Behind the Vig, here's what I got for you. It was an idea that myself and Evan Davis was on this show many times, represented Barstool Sportsbook, ESPN, Bet Rivers. He's been around the block. He speaks at all these seminars, has a ton of connections, and knows a lot about the sports gambling space, both, how the numbers are made and behind the counter. So Evan approached me and said, hey, would you like to do a show together / podcast? So we came up with this idea. It's a podcast miniseries, 8 parts, and we're interviewing people that are all over the sports gambling space. We got John Ewing, an episode recorded with him. He's from the content side at BetMGM. Megan Langham, from Rhythm, which is basically a model that predicts and uses AI, and it's really cool how it breaks it down. She joined us. We got a local guy, Alex Kane, from Sport Trade, and man, the world is his oyster. All 3 of those are in the bank. And then at 5 o'clock, you're going to hear a brand new episode, our debut of Brian Wyman on Behind the Vig. Now, who is Brian Wyman? Brian is the executive vice president and partner at the Innovation Group. And the Innovation Group, essentially, to make it simple, is if you're in the sports gambling space, or if you're trying to get things lifted off from a standpoint of a state is now new, states in general, regulators, they have all reached out to Brian and his team at the Innovation Group because he's got tremendous background in history. He's a mathematics type guy, analytics across the board, really smart, and knows a ton about the space as well. First of all, throughout the first 3 episodes, it's been tremendous. You're going to learn something no matter what. Brian, I took a lot from, because he gave us the sharp sides. He gave us some background as far as Maryland discussion. Maryland just went legal. They reached out to his team. Like, he was really bringing us behind the rope and allowing us, to learn and to hear more about those discussions taking place. I'm telling you, at 5 o'clock, you're not going to want to go anywhere. Evan Davis, myself, we sit down with Brian Wyman from the Innovation Group on Behind the Vig. So jam-packed day of programming right here on The Gambler. All right, don't go anywhere. More after this.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Quarterback play, right, is so up in the air. And when you get a quarterback that is somewhat good, and I think Tua fits into that mold. Is he a championship quarterback? No. Is he a guy that I think can go on the road and beat Kansas City in Kansas City? No. But I do think he's a pretty good quarterback. First of all, he did lead the league in passing yards, and we know Mike McDaniel is a huge deal with that. Understood. 2002, he led the league in passer rating, so that's pretty darn good, right? He's 26 years old. And, oh, by the way, the ebbs and flows of a franchise when you draft a guy as high as they did, number 5 overall pick, like, that you cannot allow that guy to leave.
Connect with the Gambler at Fox PHL Gambler on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Stop and go with volume on the Schuylkill eastbound, the Blue Routes of Belmont to Montgomery to South Street. Westbound Schuylkill is heavy from University to the Vine, then stop and go anywhere from the Boulevard out through Conshohocken. Heading down the shore already, the Walt Whitman Bridge eastbound jams the length. That's because 42 southbound is jamming from the Walt Whitman Bridge down to 295. Brandon Joseph, Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A., copyright 2024.
In this week's Marketers Report, Dana Nussbaum, Executive Vice President, Worldwide Marketing at Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on regional audio marketing.
Although we're marketing at a very broad scale, it does include specific local markets, and that's the beauty of iHeart's network.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Greg Karen, I'm the president and CEO of the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
A Gain Cent bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent beads. Try Gain Scent beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
The Tyrese Maxey Foundation is a nonprofit organization founded on faith-based values that exist to strengthen the family and the community through their works, example, and investment, providing our youth with the skills and support to become the next generation of leaders. Locally supported by the Carpenters Union and the Carpenter Contractor Trust Build Union. For more information, go to TyreseMaxey.com. That's TyreseMaxey.com.
This could be the craziest podcast pairing ever. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, and Super Bowl champ Marshawn Beast Mode Lynch are politicking.
What does politicking even mean?
There's bridging gaps.
With no politics.
Joined by their friend and agent Doug Hendrickson, it's going to be a wild ride.
We can change the world podcast by podcast.
Listen to Politicking with Gavin Newsom, Marshawn Lynch, and Doug Hendrickson on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Politicking and start listening.
Your home for Villanova basketball is WDAS and WD273D, Fox Sports Radio Philadelphia.
Daily Ticket with you here on a Thursday. Sean Brace riding solo for now. Just to let you know, starting on Monday, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets to Fanatics Fest NYC. That's Michael Rubin. I swear, like they had no idea that there's another Fanatics Fest that happens in the city of Philadelphia, but whatever. We're giving away a pair of tickets every day next week on our socials. Fanatics Fest NYC, Michael Rubin, all that and more. Check out the guest list. If you want to go, all you got to do is give us a follow, and we'll show you how you can win those tickets starting next week on Monday at Fox PHL Gambler on socials. All right, joining me right now in the Gambler stream. You know him, you love him. Haven't talked to this guy in a little bit. Sean Barnard covers all things Sixers and the NBA and USA basketball for us here on the Gambler. Good afternoon, Sean. How we doing today?
Yeah, can't complain too much. A little bit quiet in the basketball world, I would say. Olympics going on, which is cool. Getting a chance to check out a lot of these guys. But other than that, NBA hitting a little bit of a lull, which tends to be rare these days in the era of trade rumors and everything else, disgruntled stars. So I think things will be picking up again pretty soon. But for now, a little bit pause in the NBA world.
A little bit of a pause in the NBA world. Not so much a bad thing because it'll be starting very soon. And, of course, we got everything that's happening once we wrapped up the Summer League. And just to let everybody know, to win the NBA championship,
We did have some slight movement because the Sixers were second on that list for quite some time. But OKC Thunder 7-1, only behind the Boston Celtics at plus 295. Sixers are plus 850 on DraftKings Sportsbook. We'll have plenty of time to talk some Sixers. Of course, Paul George catching a lot of attention. Got to do his podcast, Sean Barnard. Everybody's got to do his podcast. Tyrese Maxey made his appearance. I would assume Joel Embiid will be on his podcast before the season starts.
Yeah, I would assume that's the case as well. For what it's worth, I do think Paul George does a pretty good job of the podcast. There are some guys who certainly I wouldn't say are experts on the mics. I think Paul is pretty good at it, the way that he does keep a rhythm flow and kind of keep things going, and has some interesting guests in general. So the Tyrese episode was pretty cool. Always cool to see a window into the personality, and we kind of have a good feeling for who Tyrese at this point. At any time he gets to kind of display the kid that he is awesome. So I think Paul does do a nice job. And, maybe the Sixers were just one podcaster away. Maybe that's where I heard him with the Pat Bev trade last year.
We also do have some Tyrese Maxey news that we will hit on a little bit later, because you're going to be attending the foundation, Tyrese Maxey's Foundation Friends and Family Weekend coming up this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I know that there's some stuff that's embargoed, all that. We don't want to cross those lines, but I think we could let the people know that you will be in attendance and talk a little bit more tomorrow and possibly getting some good information from Tyrese on a one-on-one level. But look forward to that. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room with Team USA. Now, I gotta be honest with you and be straight up, because it doesn't change for me specifically from the standpoint of the player not playing just because it's my guy Joel Embiid, who we love. Sean Barnard, the goal, the object of going across season playing in Paris in the Olympics is to win gold. That's it. You go out there and you play your best roster, best players. As far as a coaching perspective is concerned, with Steve Kerr, been there, done that. So when Jason Tatum didn't play, and they covered the number and they wiped out the opponent that opened up the
Serbia.
Serbia, thank you. And they wiped them out and they covered the number. I didn't have an issue with it. At the end of the day, I thought Steve Kerr, he knows this team better than us. Okay, Jason Tatum didn't play. Should he have found a way to play him in garbage minutes? I don't know if that would have been good enough. I don't know if that's the approach. Steve Kerr went over there and handled the damn business. They won game one, covered the number. Game two, Joel Embiid doesn't play. They don't cover the number against Sudan. Really entertaining basketball game. So much from the standpoint of that country. You probably heard it 1,000,001 times. There's no indoor basketball arena, and those guys are out there competing against LeBron James. They had like one NBA player that's currently on an active team, if I'm not mistaken, only 2 other players. They do have that freshman from Duke who's sensational this year. But like, my standpoint on this can't change, Sean. I got to be consistent. Like, Steve Kerr got it right, even though they didn't cover the number. I would not sit Joel Embiid. I think he's the best player in that damn team, except for LeBron James and maybe Kevin Durant. But he saw it differently. But where do you stand? I'm curious to know your thoughts on it. Not to say that you would be wrong if you disagree with me, but what's your take on Jason? What were you saying after Jason Tatum didn't play in game one? What are you saying after Joel Embiid didn't play in game two?
Yeah, and shout out to Luol Deng for funding everything for South Sudan as well, because it would not be possible without that. And really cool story there. A lot of goodness to go down with. But as far as the USA conversation, I mean, after the Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton sitting in game one, I understand the matchup standpoint for sure. I still think Joel Embiid is the only true center on this roster. Even Anthony Davis is a guy who prefers to play the 4 and has been pretty open about that publicly. So I think Embiid's the only guy, and it clearly made sense for him to get his opportunity against Nikola Jokic. I also think we should be able to look at this objectively and say that Joel Embiid has not played his best basketball at the Olympic level, and it's certainly been an adjustment. I think specifically being a little bit less of a ball stopper and a guy that, isn't like going to get his isolation attempts and create his own shot, because that's not how Steve Kerr likes to play basketball in general, and it's certainly not going to be passable when you're sharing the floor with all these guys. I wouldn't consider it a punishment that he was benched in game two. I do think it was more of a matchup standpoint, and after that was really the spin that everyone gave on the Jason Tatum side of things, that it was a matchup specific thing for that game. I kind of had a feeling it wouldn't shock me if there would be a game that Joel Embiid was that guy. And ultimately, it was unfortunate that was game two. Selfishly, I definitely want to see him play. And I think like my biggest thing that I'm looking forward to taking away from this just Olympics experience for Joel is for him to improve, for not being such a ball dominant player, for him to find ways to impact game. And to his credit, I think he's been better at that than people have acknowledged. There's been some really nice 2-man game with Steph Curry, which has been really cool. His screen assists and type of things that, go underlooked are things that Joel doesn't tend to prioritize in his game. So it's a bummer not to see him play, but I get it from Team USA's standpoint to an extent. And Steve Kerr, steered us right 2 straight games so far. So all goals are still in sight.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And at the same time, they didn't cover, right? And that was a big time number. I think it was 28, 29, something like that. So they didn't cover, and Sudan hit a couple big shots in the fourth quarter to make it like under 20 points. And I think the final score was like 18-17 final as far as the winning was concerned from TUSA final score. But yeah, like giving Joel Embiid a breather, like, in my opinion, Joel Embiid brings something different than anybody on that roster as a true center, as a true big man, but the rules are so different. And now he said the matchup. Are you buying what Steve Kerr said about that from the matchup standpoint? Because he said Sudan was faster. Oh, by the way, Puerto Rico plays pretty fast as well.
Yeah, to some extent I buy it. I think like he's going to rotate. I think it was Joel's turn for that to be the case. And there will be matchups. Like if we look ahead to a France matchup, you better believe Joel Embiid's going to be playing that game against Victor Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert, that he's going to be very necessary to matchups like that. So I think he's very important to this Team USA team, even though he may look expendable not playing a game like that. South Sudan, that is more of their style, that it's a lot of quick paced athleticism. And that's kind of a lot of switchable wing type archetype of players. So I think some of it's excuse making and some of it's true. The bottom line is I think he's going to rotate a couple guys that don't sit. It's tough when you have 12 guys as talented that are the 12 on the floor. And I think a lot of times people get it overshadowed that, yes, Team USA has the most talent, but you have to have the best basketball team. And that's why we're seeing guys like Derek White and Drew Holiday really shining. Devin Booker, I think, deserves a lot of credit for kind of embracing this glue guy type role as well. You can't just roll out 5 stars. It doesn't quite click the same way. And I think they're still figuring that out. And I think Joel's still figuring that out too.
Yeah, clearly, I'm not going to say, and let me put the hand up in the air. I watched Sudan's game, pretty much 75-80% of that game. The first game against Serbia missed. No, actually, I watched the game in Serbia. I watched the whole first half, which was entertaining. Second half, they pulled away. But I was out and about. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. I actually stopped at a wonderful bar in Stone Harbor and caught that while my wife and daughter were doing some shopping. So I appreciate the fact that I was able to slide in there and grab myself a nice orange crush and enjoy the first half. So I can't lie and say I was so dialed in. Clearly, in my eyes, it does look like Joel Embiid is trying to figure it out a little bit, right? It's not the smoothest operator. I did watch him in some of those those games leading up to the tournament as well. I don't know, like the conditioning, I think from the grand scheme of things, maybe I'm changing my point where I was like, oh, I don't know if I want him to play, but him getting active this part of the summer, I think that might be something good if he continues to take that into September and say, you know what, no rest for the wicked. Let's go. Maybe a week off after the Olympics, but let's keep this conditioning up. I did see Dwight Howard on a podcast saying that he thought it would be extremely beneficial for Joel Embiid to lose 20 pounds. I'm not going to go that far. I don't know his body like he does, but he has talked about his knees. And if you can lighten the load, that's going to only be good for you in the long run throughout the course of a season. Just one man's take on that one. So there's a lot of positives in my mind from Joel Embiid. Of course, he's going to be frustrated. He thinks he's the best player on that team, so he wants to play. So the pictures of him possibly sitting on the bench with his hands in his pockets, who cares? Do you think Tatum was happy about sitting? For crying out loud, the guy just won an NBA championship a month ago, and he's sitting, not playing a minute on USA Basketball, knowing what's going to be said about him on the timeline. So
while his teammates played,
like what? Yeah. True, while his teammates played, not Jaylen Brown either. The other two. But look, I think there's going to be some good things from this, no matter what. And where do you stand as far as competition is concerned? Now they're going up against Puerto Rico. They're 33-point favorites in this game coming up here on Saturday at 11:15 in the morning. Is there any team out there that's caught your attention that maybe it's going to be a little bit difficult for Team USA?
Yeah, France, I'm really intrigued by. Victor Wembanyama, he looks even a little bit stronger in my eyes. Like, he looks like he's filled out a little bit, which is it should be a scary sight to every basketball player in the world for that. Rudy Gobert,